we are here to help you guys absolutely crush the money raising business. And so today we have a really awesome guest. We're going to have a live podcast here happening with somebody who's truly special. This person not only exemplifies what it means to be a great community member, but also a leader in attitude, a leader in character, a leader in the qualities that really make somebody what we would call like an attractive person in a community. Like just both amazing attitude, amazing spirit, very kind, and very, very capable. And so I want to welcome to the stage, we have our friend Tina Shields is here. We're going to have a really good time here today. And I'm very, very excited. And so, folks, welcome to the Canadian Real Estate Revival podcast. And so my guest today is Tina Shields. And so, Tina, welcome. So glad to have you with us here today.
Thank you. I'm like totally blushing and I suddenly got really nervous. So thank you, Ben.
Well, we're so excited to have you. We're so excited to have you, and we are excited to share your story today with our audience because everyday Canadians want to know, how do we win? What does it take? And so we love sharing stories of real people who are also getting real results. And you're such a great candidate for that. Like, you're the kind of person that people really should aspire to be. Your attitude is infectious. And so let's jump right into this episode today. On the Canadian Real Estate Revival podcast with the one and only Tina Shields. Tina, here's what I want to know. Let's dive right into this. Tina, you have a great attitude, really do. And for me, having a great attitude is one of the core tenets of business. It's a very, very important thing, I believe. It's like one of those secrets in business that just gives you leverage with people. When you're a likable person and when you are the kind of person that people can get comfortable around, I think you really gain momentum in relationships. So here's the starting question. Mm-hmm. Have you always had this personality and attitude, or did you cultivate it at some point in your life?
It's probably a little bit of both, actually. So when I was a baby, my nickname was Bubbles. I've always been bubbly. And when I was in elementary school, I was always getting in trouble for talking too much and being somewhat disruptive, but in a really nice way. And so I think it's always been, I love people. I love connecting. And you don't realize that it's like, that everybody's not necessarily feeling that way. It's just kind of innate to you. So, and I think certain things in life can make you go away from that a little bit. Like we all get sort of beaten up, or, things happen, or you're in a job and you're just like not feeling it. And so I would say the other part of it has been so much, and it's been through real estate, to be honest, through this journey in real estate, that I have spent so much more time on mindset and choosing how I want to show up and being more intentional. And lots of times I fall off the wagon, but then I'm like aware of it. So you can kind of come back and be like, no, I want to be kind and loving and, show up for people and show up for my family and friends and just be a good human. So, so yeah, I don't know. I guess it's a bit of both, but yeah.
My observation in business in general is that there's a tremendous amount of noise, and that noise to me looks like low intention and low energy type of conversation. And so there's a lot of people that want to do business, a lot of people that are realtors and investors, and we're investors here. I know you're both. And you get lost in the mundane conversations about nothing. And so when you meet a person with personality and energy, it really is a shortcut. You become memorable. And so you're one of those characters. Like, you can't forget Tina, right? You just can't forget Tina. You got that energy. Give me some of the secret sauce. Is there something you do? Is there a mindset that you develop every day? What are some of the activities that you engage in to maintain this kind of upbeat attitude?
I think like part of it is I realize, especially now, that we have this one beautiful life and it goes by really quickly. And when you look at kind of how much time and energy we spend on things, I try to think about, is it good energy and time? Like, am I feeling good or am I not feeling good? So Like a lot of what, like I'm so always trying to invest in my development and learning. I love listening to podcasts, reading books. Like I make lots of notes. That's how I learn. And I mean, I was just listening, I think it was to like a Mel Robbins one, and it was with, I think Hoda, I forget her name. She's from like the Today Show. But it's just looking at your life like it's a pie. Like we have a time pie, and it's like, how do we carve it up? And like what gets your attention, and how do you want to be in those like moments? So I definitely want to be joyful and happy and not stressed out. And when things are heavy, like I just want to work through them in a way that I'm still enjoying life and I'm still present. Because like we got caught up in the rat race of real estate. I'll tell you, we could talk about that. Where I felt like for a few years, like I was not myself. Like I was stressed, I was anxious, I was comparing myself to other people. I was, we were just like, there was just so much momentum. Like we just weren't stopping to really reassess if this was my journey or someone else's journey. And not having a great coach like you and this great community is like, you don't have anyone who's really checking in with you, because we all do this a little bit differently. And so like feeling like for a few years where I just got really burnt out, and so did my husband, that I was like, I don't want to do that again. I just feel like I missed really good moments. I was looking through pictures like when we were away and with my kids, and I was like, man, was I even like present? Like, was I actually there? Because like I look like I'm having a great time, but I'm pretty sure I was thinking about 700 things, and I wasn't really in that moment. And so that's kind of, I think, how I want to be now, is just much more intentional about all of that and how I am in those moments. And it's a work in progress, but yeah, I'm not sure if that kind of answers it.
Something very interesting that I think about often is when you first get started in real estate investing, there's no limit to how much pain you're willing to endure. And so we all start with this capacity to endure. And so we put ourselves through more or less punishment, right? Sleepless nights, tons of anxiety, probably terrible habits develop. And so you become wealthy on paper, but emotionally you become rather bankrupt. And mentally oftentimes. And so you say, well, I've made progress, but have you really made progress, or have you just reallocated all the best parts of you to a new campaign, and then you've robbed yourself of your own identity? And so at the beginning of our career, this is commonly a badge of honor. Like, look at me, I'm successful and fat, like, look at me, I've got 30 doors and no relationships. Right? Look at me. I've made progress, and I've bought my first property, and I have absolutely nobody to share it with. It's that kind of stuff, right? Like we become lonely, we become introverted. And so as you, I think, grow in life, you start to create some non-negotiables. Yeah. And so today my framework is, it's not what you do, it's how you do the what you do. And what that means is we can either do it with great privilege and joy and fun and energy, and we can make $1 million, or we can do it with stress and anxiety and just a lot of negativity. And you can make $1 million by simply doing the tactical work. Whether you're angry or happy in the process seems to be a byproduct. My belief is that it's your fuel. If you fuel yourself with positive, just productive energy, you'll make 10 million. If you fuel yourself with negative, destructive energy, but you do the work, you'll wind up wealthy, unhappy, and probably unhealthy. And so what's your mindset on maintaining the right type of energy, attitude today, and doing the work? Because, you're very, like, you're back to being Bubbles, right? And so today you're Bubbles, as I know you. I don't know you as a stressed out Tina. You're Bubbles, but you're also doing a great job. And so can you give us some context or advice today in your season of life? How do you deal and cope with the stresses and the expectations that we all fight to try to maintain and hit?
I think so. A couple things. I'm way nicer to myself than I used to be.
What does that mean?
I've always really been hard on myself, like perfectionist. Not honoring progress over perfection. Like it had to be perfect, like crippling, working too much. Always had no problem working lots of nights and weekends. And I've pivoted. Like my background, I'm a dietitian. I did a master's in community nutrition and public health. I worked in a big company in corporate responsibility and public relations and sustainability. So I was building jobs and entrepreneur. And like, I think, and then I pivoted. I went and I was teaching because I just was losing the balance. I had my second boy, and the thought of going back to work and being gone for 12 hours a day, and TJ was gone for 12 hours a day, and we were doing real estate nights and weekends, and we were dragging the kid with, like, our babies with us, which is great. But it felt like at first a badge of honor. Everyone's like, look at you guys, like, you're so busy. It's so amazing. But it's like, at what cost? So I learned a lot. But now, and I love that. Like, I wouldn't change any of it because I feel like everything, happens the way it's supposed to. But I also know we were in this world that was not sustainable and not scalable in real estate and business and all those things. So I think now I'm a lot kinder. I'm more patient. I realize that my strength is not in systems and building processes. I just kind of like go for it. So that's kind of what attracted me to you, Ben, because I was like, okay, like I want to actually build a business here. I don't want to be just stuck in it and not be able to get out of it. So that's sort of important to me, is that building that business and process and looking at the things that maybe I don't have to do to free up some bandwidth. And not comparing. Like, we have this horrible habit, and in real estate, it's easy to do. There's so many communities, there's so many people posting, I have 100 doors, I have this, and it can get really, it's not good for you.
Yeah.
So it's okay to like look at what people are doing, and I love talking to them and finding out, more just to learn and to celebrate them, but not to try to compare myself to that, because we all have a different lane. They might be in chapter 90 of their book, and I'm in chapter 2. Like, I should not be comparing myself.
They might also be in chapter 9, like bankruptcy. Like, we don't know. One of the crazy things about this game, and again, no shade on multifamily people, but multifamily investors tend to use some metrics as like the guidepost, and they're like, I got 100 doors. Great, that's awesome. But are they profitable? Right? Like, number of doors seems to be the metrics of success. And so if number of doors was the thing, well, then the window and door manager at Home Depot has more doors than you. So he's technically more successful because he has 300 doors. And so number of doors doesn't equal number of success. I know nobody wants to hear that, because for them, it's like, it's an easy metric. But for us in business, it's like, well, it's cash flow, it's equity, it's other variables. And so I heard this thing that kind of reminds me of you, but so bear with me. A lady in the streets, but a freak in the bank. And so what that means is that, get it right? Pretty good. I like it. I think it came from.
I'm not sure if I like that. Like,
a lady in the streets, but a freak in the bank, right? And so what I'm saying is, yeah. What I'm saying is, like, you can have a really strong superpower. And I think if you can develop one superpower in life, you can win. And I think for you, like, communication is a strong suit. And so you could have been terrible at school and not have paid attention to most of the data and information. But if you can go vertically deep on one superpower and get really, really good, you start to become a really effective person. And so my belief in business is that there's a lot of synergies between people. And so if I'm a great communicator, and you're a great analyzer, and we work together, we can leverage each other's strengths. And so, and we should do that. And so I would rather a person who's fundamentally great at one thing and terrible at 10 others. Otherwise, the opposite is you get a jack of all trades and a master of nothing. And so that person never builds a genuine advantage in the marketplace. And I think for you, having observed you, you are very good at connecting with people in a non-intimidating environment. You're very good at disarming.
Thanks.
Yeah. And because of that, I think you gain rapport much quicker than most people I've ever seen on the phone. And so, because I consider you somewhat of an expert on that principle, can you give us maybe some of your mindset or strategies for how a person who is not good at that whatsoever could build rapport faster and more effectively when they're talking to a total stranger?
Yeah, it's always funny because when we never recognize our own strengths, right? We're like, what? And then I look at other people and I'm like, wow, like that's amazing. And they're like, what do you mean? Like, that's just what I do, right? So, but I would say with Rapport, like I was even nervous getting on the phones, like, especially when we started this, because it was different. And so sometimes we feel like we want to show up like somebody else. And the more we're trying to be somebody else, the more uncomfortable it is. So I think you can still be yourself, but and that's, I know if you feel like you're shy, don't like talking to people, that's a weird thing to say, but like there's certain things like you would say, this is what I would say. And I'm like, I feel weird saying that. Like that's a Ben thing. I don't know if I would, I think even Andrea has her own approach, right? So I think it's being what's comfortable and listening to other people and picking up certain ways that they say things that's nice. Like, so I think being in this community and watching people on the phone is amazing because you get to watch us flop and kind of mess up and get a 4 out of 10 from Ben and maybe call the person back and try to do a little bit better. But ultimately I realized they're just people, and it's like, there's something powerful and nice when you can connect to people and, and make some kind of connection and not like you're trying to get something from them. And sometimes those calls you feel like, and some people, I've seen some people call and I'm like, it's very efficient. It's not about the person. It's just trying to push through a deal. And like, it might be effective for them, but it's not my way. So I think it's knowing them as a person. It's feeling if you want to connect and like really just having a conversation, like not worrying about the outcome. And then you just hone your skills as to get yourself closer to that outcome. Like, me at first, I couldn't price anchor. I didn't want to do the difficult stuff. And then you get better at the difficult conversations. But I think it's just, repetition, watching other people and just realizing that like most people are really nice. And if they're not, who cares? Like, I think it was, Sharon yesterday, right? Like, it's okay. Like, if they're not nice to you, like, it doesn't matter. Just let it go. Like Teflon, did she say?
Teflon shoulders.
Because otherwise, I'm a bit of an empath and I feel other people's things, but we have to like let that go. Because it's not really about you. They're probably having a bad day or something else is going on, and that's okay, right? And it's not really that insulting. If your offer is too low, it's okay. You just say, hey, I had to ask. Like, I think it's reframing it. And I had to do some reframing it to get more comfortable as well, for sure.
Well, let's talk about the reframe, because it's the change in perspective. And so everybody has an agenda. Let's just call it what it is. And so when you're buying real estate, whether you're buying direct from seller or a realtor, everyone has that agenda. The agent wants to sell for the highest possible price. Mm-hmm. And so what happens is, to validate our agenda, we create stories. And one of the most powerful reframes that I really like to engage in is the idea of, whose story am I living in today, yours or mine? When a counterparty, an agent, for example, says to me, well, I'm asking $400,000. Your offer for $250 is a lowball. You can accept that frame and you can start to feel guilt and somehow you're doing something wrong. Or you can adjust the frame and say, hold on, you bought it for $130,000 3 years ago. And now you want $400,000, which is more than your family has made in 3 generations, more than you've made at your job. And so in your story, there is no greed from the seller. Somehow fairness and equitable and what have you. In my story, you're incredibly greedy for wanting 2.5 times what you paid for it 3 years ago. And the only reason you're selling is you're afraid the market's going to drop. And so you don't want to be the one left holding the bag. And you'd rather another buyer lose money than for you to only make $100,000 more than you paid for it. And so I've learned to reframe these. And when you reframe, it creates conflict, because a seller is going to want to position, or an agent will want to position a certain way. And so I've learned that there's going to be natural conflict. So here's what I've done. I've learned this kind of process of going into a negotiation conversation. I think we have to adjust our expectation. And so in my expectation, I really do have a desire to win. I do. We all do. And if you don't have a desire to win, you're not going to do well in business, period. But I have a capacity to make sure that my win doesn't create for somebody else pain.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking for common ground. And so this is what I do. I change my level of expectation. Instead of expecting to walk in and have an easy dialogue with no effort and buy it for half price, I think that's incredibly immature. I think that it will be a complicated conversation. I think it'll be emotional for all parties. I think the seller wants to make the most amount of money possible. And to a degree, that's fine, because if I was the seller, so would I. So here's what I've done. I've learned to basically increase my level of intention and work harder, listen harder, be more patient, really be the best version of myself on that call. I really think if you want to catch the best Ben Humble, catch me on a sales call. All right. And if you don't catch me there, you better catch me outside. How about that? All right. So we lower your expectation that it's going to be easy and increase your level of intention. And I think that that creates a more appropriate mindset for being able to sit there. Now, I've seen you very patient, very kind. What is your mindset when you're talking to sellers? I'm sure that there's got to be some duality between I got to win and, man, I can't do anything I feel is wrong. Where is your moral, ethical compass in talking to people about price, and maybe how has that shifted over the last few weeks?
It's shifting, but it's a process for me. So I have a TJ, my hubby, and I were working with another friend of ours on some flips, and she does wholesales. And I used to do some calls for her. This is back in like 2021. And I just felt like, oh, they can get more for this. And so I felt bad, but she will help me reposition it where it's a win-win. Like, we're offering a solution, like we're being really nice. We're making it really easy. They're actually happy with what they're getting. They, all the terms are right. So but I'm in my head going like, oh, like, but they could get more. So I've had to like think about that. I think I just think about it as a win. I just want a win-win. Like, I never want to be in a deal where I feel like somebody is going to feel really crappy afterwards. And I think some people can do that, right? Like, they're like, hey, whatever, I got a great deal. And if that person, suddenly realizes that, or they felt they were manipulated, I don't know. So, but I think you can have that and still you can get a great deal and they can have a win as well. And so, that's a reposition. And I think we don't need to be greedy. Like, I think sometimes, I know probably as a seller, if we flip a house, we want to sell it for the maximum amount we want to get, right? So it's like understandable. So that's why not every deal is your deal. Like, maybe they really are looking for the maximum amount. Maybe they're not that motivated. And maybe they'll get it, but it's going to be for someone else. Like, it's not for me as an investor. And so I think it's just like removing the emotion, like trying to create a win-win, make sure it is a win for you. Hopefully it's a win for them. Right? That would make me feel better. And then if you can't get to that place and it just doesn't seem like it, then you move on. Like, I think I have gotten emotionally attached to properties before. Like, I'm definitely not like that anymore. I'm like, oh, well, like I had one in the 30 days under contract. And then I like freaked out because I was like, this is not enough. This is only really one exit. And this is not what Ben would do. And so I was, and I even got renegotiated seller financing, and I was like, this is so cool. But then I realized I'm like, no, I don't want just one exit. Like, I don't want to lose sleep. This is some of those golden rules that I saw a lot of people, and my husband and I saw a lot of people get really, there's a lot of unfortunate things that happened through some of the communities, where, people with lots of doors and over leveraged and promissory notes and things like took a lot of people down, because they didn't buy at a discount. So they couldn't weather a storm, and they didn't have multiple exits. So I am so appreciative that you are so firm on that.
Unwavering.
Yeah. And it does, it makes sense. And then it's like, if you're going to use other people's money, which I think for a lot of us on this call, it's a limiting belief. For me, it has been. I got stuck in always thinking we had to use our own money, and so did Teach. And then we did some lending and also did, private mortgages, and we used registered funds, and like, it was great. But it was with people that we really had established a relationship, know, like, and trust. Yeah. And so like, it's like overcoming all of that and just trusting yourself, but finding the right deal so that you feel good about it, especially if you're taking other people's money, right? Like, I treat that money actually with higher respect than my own. I'm more comfortable losing my own money than someone else's. And so I appreciate you with the way you look at deals. And I know that's something that is like now I'm okay to walk away from things that maybe before I would like trying to make it work. And I'm like, no, like you should not be trying to make anything work.
Mhm.
It's got to make sense on those different levels. So I appreciate you for that because it's helped me just be more comfortable and patient. And
Yeah.
I'd rather have a few really good ones than a whole bunch of mediocre ones. Like that's a lot more stress.
I want to get your kind of quick impulse on a couple of thoughts and things I think about all the time. So I'll just kind of spit these out and then I'll get your quick impulse and we'll kind of go back and forth here. First thought is this. If you want to be in business a very long time, always leave something on the table. What I've learned about buying and selling real estate over the years, and I've purchased and sold 300 properties in Canada and raised over $40 million. When it comes to lenders and buyers and sellers, I've learned not to squeeze. I've learned to squeeze when you go for the last dollar, the last point, the last place of interest. Even if you get it, you will sour a relationship that could be way more valuable in the long term. And so I've learned those that leave room on the table and leave deals, in fact, live in abundance. Those that don't. And so like trying to get the best deal ever is not as important as getting 3 good deals. I know it's crazy. My belief is there's always another deal around the corner. So why do I need to squeeze this person? It's just not necessary. What's your hot take on leave money on the table?
I really like that because I mean, like I think it's relationships. To be honest, like I know there's a saying out there, right? But your net worth, whatever it is, your net worth is your network. But like relationships are everything. And when you look at when I look at the people that I admire, and that I believe have a nice work-life blend balance, whatever you want to call it. Like maybe it's blend because they enjoy work, so it doesn't feel like work. It's all integrated. It's like they have really great relationships all across the board with the people they work with clients, customers, lenders. And so I would rather leave something on the table and have a really great relationship where we can keep doing deals and work together and then be one and done. I mean, then you got to go and do all that work again to try to like build a relationship with somebody to try to, whether it's a realtor or a wholesaler or a lender, like I want, like if you have, I mean, you only need a few really good ones and you can have an incredible, prosperous abundance. There's a lot of abundance there. And I think there's so much abundance out there too. I think like sometimes we get into that scarcity mindset and we're like, oh, I got a pinch. And I work with people and, when we were switching jobs and, trying to make more, it's hard, right? For those that know with their T4 comfortable jobs to suddenly try to substitute that. I mean, it doesn't have to be one for one. I know you've talked about that, Ben, but still like you need cash flow. So I love that you're talking about you need cash and cash flow.
Here's the next one I'm going to throw it at you. Your level of operational integrity equals your relationship and equals your reputation. If you want to be a home flipper and you want to raise capital, it's incredibly important that you understand the dynamic of why that money goes to you instead of going into their own projects. And so if I have money and I'm a lender and I'm going to entrust it to you in a deal, well, my expectation is, and watch this, that you respect my money at least how much I respect my own money. Otherwise, it has no business being in your hands. So when you have new investors, the fact that like I'm new, should I leverage OPM? It's not about new. It's about how responsible are you with your own PM? Are you the kind of person who has personal financial responsibility, where you have a core set of rules around your own money? And if you do, then you should apply the same rules to other people's money. That's my honest belief. And so when somebody invests with me and I'm responsible for a deal, they are investing in the integrity that I have around this topic of money. If I have unwavering principles designed to protect my capital and their capital, it's now my job to steward those principles and ensure I don't violate the process. And so it's process and it's people. And so here's what that means. As a lender, I'm incredibly rigid. You know why? Because I don't want to lose money. And as a flipper, I'm also incredibly rigid because I don't want to lose money. And so here's kind of my general rules and rigidness around money. Number one, calculate everything. It's never good enough to make it a verbal. Like you can't verbally budget a rehab. You can't verbally negotiate a deal without all of the numbers. And so calculate everything. Number one. Number two, account for every dollar. Account for every dollar that goes into a rehab. Because if somebody entrusts me with their money in a flip, they're entrusting my ability to get a discount on materials, to manage a job effectively. They don't want me to go ahead and blow my budget, right? Because if I were to blow my budget, why couldn't they just blow it and they waste a bunch of money? And so probably the best thing that a new home flipper could do, or somebody who wants to leverage OPM, is recognize that if your lender is incredibly more financially responsible than you, you are putting their money in harm's way. And so become way more rigid, become way more responsible, become a fiduciary in such a way where you're not going to waste their money on junk. You can't give money to people with a broke mindset. And so OPM should be reserved for people who are deciding to be highly responsible. OPM has no business in somebody's hand who can't manage their own dollar. And so I think that's the responsibility of the case. Now, I will say one thing that I hear oftentimes that I completely disagree with, and I think just to make a point, I don't want to lose anyone's money, mine or a neighbor's. It is not worse if I lose my money, or better. It's the same. For me, I refuse to lose mine or yours or anyone's. I have the same standard, and my standard is rigid. And here's my last phrasing. Ask very hard questions. Whenever you want to lend money or you want to be involved in a deal, ask the very hard questions that you're ignoring, because an ounce of prevention is way better than a power of sale. Right? Like, ask the hard questions, ask the what ifs, go down the rabbit hole with what happens if you fail. And I think if you can get through that together, you will be much better prepared to deal with negative outcomes. And so these are the kind of thought patterns and things that I have. And so I try to bring this rigidness to real estate, because rules are rules for a reason. I use them to be safe. And so I guess from you, what is your hot take on just being really rigid on rules when it comes to money? What's your belief? What's your opinion on that? Give us your perspective.
I think having not been as rigid as we should have been when we started in this process, and so it's not like the previous conversation was kind of about squeezing, and that's different than like leaving too much money on the table or losing money. So I would say that I was terrified to take other people's money. And then the biggest thing that when we started doing it was to make sure that we had the hard conversations first, like you were talking about, and that we really flushed it out. And that if you have a project that, like, let's say it's a fix and flip, but it doesn't sell. Like, you got to have that conversation with your partner before, right? Like, what happens if it doesn't sell? Like, do you need your money out in this time frame that we've allotted, or would you be willing to leave your money in there longer if we want to rent it out for a bit and try again? And if they're not, that doesn't mean it won't work, but you better make sure that you know then that you could find someone else to take their spot in your deal. Like, it's like thinking about all those what ifs, and I've seen it, what happens when people don't, right? And like, even like really ugly stuff. So I think it's so important to have those super hard conversations, to be really rigid, to have really good communication. So some like stuff happens, right? So it's like, don't hope that it'll just like work it out. I would go to my partners right away and have the conversations, because sometimes 2 heads or 3 heads are better than one. And you go to people in this wonderful community and be like, this is what's happening. Like, what are some ways? Maybe I didn't think about this, but that's the only way I could sleep at night, for sure. Otherwise, I think the anxiety would take over. And I think the other thing is just like not taking on too much. Sometimes we get caught up, and that happened with that beautiful bullish appreciating market. So it was easy to do a lot of deals, and you can get them under contract. Just make sure you can follow through on them, which means you need a team. I'm terrible at delegating. I'm learning. But like when we had a few properties going, one of them sat for too long. Like, I didn't push through in the permit quick enough. And that was not like, the stuff happens, and then, suddenly your deal's not quite what you thought it was going to be, or, you suddenly the market changes and you're like, holding the the hot potato, right? So I definitely would say like the hard conversations and just make sure that you have the capacity and the team and the time to do the amount of projects that you're taking on. Yeah.
Okay, so now you're in our community. We're so glad we have you.
I love this community.
I'm sure you've been in. Well, I know it's the best. We're the best by far. Canadian community, number one, hands down. It's huge. It's amazing. It's the best.
Yeah.
What's the difference? So you've been in other groups. What do you think is the difference with our group and our community and our vibe and our perhaps core values compared to the other things you've seen?
So one is you care. Like it is so obvious that you care. And I don't mean that other people don't care, but sometimes it gets so big or there's so many things going on that they care about certain elements, but maybe not necessarily your success the same way. Yeah. The high level of accountability is amazing. And I think that, I know I need it, and I think a lot of us need that high level of accountability. But also that this community is great, and I love it because we're pushing, but we can be vulnerable. We can kind of mess up. We can be honest. I think you've even said, like, when you meet people and everything's sunshine and roses, like, be careful, right? Like, because mistakes happen. We get into positions where we don't know, like, we don't know what we don't know, right? Even if I don't know a lot of stuff, like, I'm always learning. So I love that I feel like it's a great community. You could just come out and be like, I don't know. And like, there's all this amazing support. Exactly. Accountability, right, Shelley? And, but the accountability is huge. And I really, truly believe that there is a beautiful, abundant mindset in this community. So that we're all celebrating, and not like, oh crap, like they got that and I didn't get anything. Like, I don't feel that here at all, which is so nice. It's just that energy, but there's something for all of us. We all have a slightly different lane that we're taking and a different pace, and that's okay, but you're going to keep pushing us. Like, it's not an excuse. But yeah, I feel really grateful to be here. I also believe that your approach, looking at it as a business, is also kind of unique, in terms of just helping us set up all the systems and the processes, and the automation, and how to remove ourselves from the day to day. Because it's like, yes, I think a lot of us were like, originally when we got into this, we're like, maybe I'll buy a property a year and like this and that. And so you don't necessarily need that. And then when you start doing more, if you don't have those systems, like that's when it falls apart or you burn out. Right. Yeah. So yeah. So anyway, so happy. I don't know, for those that are like thinking about coaching, even if you've done different coaching, like I've done a lot. And I feel like this is the first time where I'm like, this is where I'm meant to be, and probably when I'm meant to be here, right? Like that's what happens. And I'm super excited. Like it's a long play for me, real estate. So I'm being patient, but I'm so excited about the people that are just kicking butt right now. And I'm like trailing behind, but that's okay.
I think you're so wise. I think real estate, this will be my last kind of a point, but real estate has to be a long game, folks. Mm-hmm. If you spent 20 years really struggling with money and then you finally found real estate, don't quit after 6 months. Mm-hmm. Real estate really works if you work real estate, and you will have markets when you'll get more equity for less effort. That's right now, by the way. Right now, if you make an effort, you will get more equity for the same skill that you got a year and a half ago. You'll have other markets where your properties rise in value with no effort. And so you'll have bull markets and bear markets. And I think that if you just stick through the market when it's going up and down, and you learn how to use the volatility to your advantage, if you just don't quit, it is very hard to lose with real estate. It's just very hard. The people who quit too early, and the people who are too desperate, too impatient. What is that old adage that says is that the market will steal from the impatient and give to the patient? That's what happens.
I'll take that, because I'm being very patient right now.
You're doing great. And so you're going to end up buying deals, and you're going to end up growing your wealth. And at some points, you might have a couple of years where the market is flat and doesn't grow at all. And other times when it's going down in value, you're like, oh man, I'm losing value. I know, double down. And so, but in 20 years from now, you're going to go, oh yeah, we have 50 properties, 100 properties, 200 properties, right? not just I have a 1/10 of 3 doors, because who cares? Literally nobody cares. Nobody cares. All right. You got the doorknob. You got the doorknob. That's what you got. You're just a knob, right? There you go. You got a doorknob. And so it's, I think, really, really prudent that we as real estate people, we give it time. We allow real estate to do what it does. And we treat it like a business, because if you treat it like a business, then you get the actual investment for free or near free. And so what is the future for Tina? Paint us a picture so we can travel with you in the future, and we can kind of track with you as you're growing. Where are you going? What are you excited for? Just paint us a vision of what we can expect from future Tina Shields.
I love it. Well, I've got my 9-year-old right here, almost 9-year-old. He's been coming in, sent me he's like, I love you, and a little thing. Say hi. Oh, hey. He's all blurry. Hey.
Hey.
That's my future. And I love that we've involved our boys in this, like from the beginning, like 9, 10, 11 years ago, even before. And so that is, I think I just want to build something that we can integrate our family and our work, and so that it doesn't feel like work, right? And real estate to me has been such a great vehicle for that. And so, and I love creating beautiful spaces and fixing things and renovating. So it always fits well. But as you know, I picked a new market when we started 30 Days in the US. So I really hope that I will be getting my first deal finally in the US, and we'll have a great portfolio down there, and we can spend a bit more time with our travel trailer and with our kids and in warmer weather. And kind of transition into that. Like right now, right? I have a lot of obligations at home with my mom living with us, and my mother-in-law lives here, and we also have like a bunch of sheep and goats and pigs and roosters and stuff that makes it hard to leave. So it's a balance of all that. But eventually, thanks, Shelly. I think, we're building something like really beautiful that we can share with our kids. I love seeing what the Blanks are doing. It's so amazing. And like Sharon and Colm, like everyone's just, I love that this is all about that in this community. That'd probably be something else that's really unique, is that I think we're all just trying to do something really great.
Yeah.
For our kids, for our family, feel good about it, hopefully, leave the world a better place. So anyway, that's it. I'm going to be in the US finally. I'm all in, and we want to spend time there. My husband's really excited about that. He really likes warmer weather. So yeah.
I'm excited. I'm going to make some kind of proclamation, but I think in 20 years.
And I'm coming to Sunny Skies in January.
You're coming to Sunny Skies retreat. It's going to be amazing. I think in 20 years, families will grow together. Kids will grow together. Who knows? There might be some little humble marriages happening between the community members. I don't know. Anything could happen, right? Anything could happen.
That's awesome. We got, Caleb and all those guys, they can mentor my kids, eh? And they get older.
There you go.
In the deal house.
There you go. Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. Well, Tina, you're such a blessing. Thank you for being in our community.
Thank you.
Really, really excited for your journey here with us. And, thank you for pouring into our group and just being a great part of this very forward-thinking community where we're all about community and values and families and success and trying to keep a really positive attitude, and you've been a great example of that. So keep plugging
thank you
forward.
Guys. I love everyone. You guys are awesome. I can't wait to get to know more people better and see some of you hopefully down in Arizona. I'm late to the party there, so yay.
How do people track with you if they want to get a hold of you after the show? What's the best way for them to
I'll throw it like Sharon did. So on Facebook, I'm Tina Horsley Shields, because that is my maiden name and I couldn't be bothered to get rid of it at the time. And then I think on Instagram, I'm going to get better at this. I'm not very good at it. Ben would know. I better post tonight. I'm in trouble. I didn't post last night. And then, and I put my email too. So anytime you want to chat, I just like to chat. So you might have noticed. So reach out anytime.
We love it. We're glad we're glad we brought you from the dark side, and you're back to the light. And so welcome to our group. And so folks, there you go, folks. That's Tina Shields. Amazing. Connect with her.
Guys.
And if you guys are in need of a real estate community that cares for you and really wants you to win, come join us. We're #1 Canadian real estate results community, and we're so honored to have people like Tina in this group. Until next time, take care. God bless you and stay humble. Bye for now.